Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. With Chief Minister Jayalalithaa in hospital for the last 13 days, two critical questions have arisen which we shall address tonight. Who's running the state in her absence, and has governance fallen into the hands of unaccountable bureaucrats operating from inside the hospital? And secondly, why have details of her illness not been made available to the public? In a democracy, don't we have the right to know? My guests are the former editor of The Hindu and now founding editor of TheWire.in, Siddharth Varadarajan, DMK spokesperson Mannu Sundaram, one of the most loyal supporters of the AIADMK and Chief Minister Jayalalithaa, C. Rajashekharan, and former Cabinet Secretary Surendra Singh. Mr. Surendra Singh, let's start with the state of governance in Tamil Nadu before we come after the break to the question, do we have a right to know about the state of Jayalalitha's health? The Chief Minister has been in hospital for more than 13 days, but we have no clear idea of who is running the state in her absence. An acting Chief Minister has not been appointed, nor has any minister been made the nodal in charge of the government. Now, you're a former Cabinet Secretary. Is this an acceptable situation?
Well, there are instances, Karan, when the Prime Ministers or the Chief Ministers have been away for a fairly prolonged period of time, like when they go on trips abroad and so on. And normally the practice is that the head of the bureaucracy, the Chief Secretary, should have instructions of the Chief Minister that in case some important development takes place or a cabinet meeting has to be held to address some emergency that has arisen, then some minister should be asked to chair the cabinet meeting and decision should be taken. Now, whatever one gathers from the media suggests that there is a former Chief Secretary who's now been appointed, not now, I mean she is the advisor in the to the Chief Minister, and she seems to be sitting in the hospital effectively running the administration. So I would say as long as important policy decisions are not taken and the business of running the state, housekeeping as it were, is being carried out, it is not a serious lapse in governance.
Can I put this to you, Mr. Surendra Singh?
There is some understanding.
Can I interrupt and put this to you?
About
even when Dr. Manmohan Singh went to hospital in January 2009 for his heart surgery, Pranab Mukherjee was appointed to run the government in his absence. Nothing of the sort has happened here. Is this acceptable, right and proper, or is it wrong? Give me a simple answer. Yes or no, one way or the other.
Well, Karan, simple answer is difficult. As long as there is an understanding with somebody, in case there should be some important development takes place and an important decision has to be taken, who will be in charge?
Okay.
As long as it's a routine running of the state administration, I would not call it a serious lapse in governance.
Of course, we don't know if there is any such understanding. Like, you're assuming there may be, or perhaps you're hoping there may be, but we simply don't know. In Dr. Manmohan Singh's case, when he was in hospital, he had made it clear that Pranab Mukherjee would officiate in his absence. Nothing of the sort has happened here with that level of clarity. You're assuming, you're hoping there is an understanding, but we don't know. Siddharth Varadarajan, what's worse is something that Mr. Surendra Singh was alluding to,
that
an
is so,
item
Karan,
that was covered by the Hindustan Times yesterday, which says that a former but now retired Chief Secretary of Tamil Nadu, Sheila Balakrishnan, who is now the Chief Political Advisor to the Chief Minister, is virtually running the government from inside the hospital. The Hindustan Times says that the present Chief Secretary and the Director General of Police seek her orders. Even someone like Paneer Selvam, who has twice been Chief Minister, are actually, it seems, taking directions from her. Now, if this is true, an unelected and unaccountable person is running the government. What do you make of that?
I think it's absolutely dreadful, Karan.
Well, that's certainly not right.
I put that to Siddharth Varadarajan. Forgive me, that's Siddharth Varadarajan. Go ahead, Siddharth Varadarajan.
Yeah, I think it's dreadful. It's unacceptable that when the Chief Minister goes into hospital and enters a period of incapacitation, which is clearly a prolonged period, that no formal announcement is made about who will be in charge of running the government, and it is obvious that that person cannot be some private nominee or advisor. It has to be in consonance with the cabinet system of government. So, you know, what ought to have been done is for her to have nominated, say, Mr. Paneerselvam, who has officiated as Chief Minister in the past when she has been unable to hold that position for legal reasons. You don't have that system in place. Instead, a very informal arrangement which is disclosed, that too essentially through media reports, although everybody knows that Mr. Balakrishnan is the one essentially calling the shots in Tamil Nadu. But it's very unfortunate because this robs the government and the system of any kind of accountability, or even the fig leaf of accountability, which is really quite unprecedented, and it's not in keeping with the system of governance that ought to exist in any democratic democratically run state or country.
Mr. Rajashekharan, how do you defend this rather improper, and perhaps I should add strange, situation? I know that something very similar happened in the 1980s when MGR was ill, but surely that can neither be a precedent nor is it really in keeping with India's constitutional requirements.
Karan, see, our Chief Minister is absolutely fine. She is admitted in the hospital.
But hang on a second, you can't be
medical
both things
bulletins,
together.
regular bulletins.
I hate interrupting you, but you can't be absolutely fine
let me finish.
and at the same time be in hospital. Fine people don't go to hospital. So let's not confuse ourselves.
See, let me finish. That's what I want to reiterate here. She became unwell. She was admitted in the hospital. Within 48 hours, she recovered a little bit. Now she is developing, and definitely she'll become all right 100% very soon, going by the medical health bulletin issued by the Apollo hospitals. That's what I want to say here. See, finally, the government is run by the officers appointed by the cabinet and the Chief Minister. The best of the officers have been appointed by Madam in the past and now also.
Why has Madam not appointed an acting Chief Minister while she's in hospital? Dr. Manmohan Singh, when he went in for surgery, appointed Pranab Mukherjee to look after the government in his absence. Why has a similar arrangement not been officially made? There may be, as Mr. Surendra Singh says, some understanding, but it's not known, and that's an assumption of Mr. Surendra Singh. I'm asking you, why has she not formally appointed someone to run the government in her absence?
See, it is too hypothetical to speculate that she will not get well. She will be in the hospital for many more days.
But
that is not a fact.
14.
See, daily the health bulletin says that 14 days is not a long period.
Time.
She will anytime she'll be discharged.
Forgive me.
Definitely not. The ailments, the health conditions are improving. So the hospital says she will be discharged anytime within a couple of days or a week or so.
But hang on a second, this is anyway getting more and more bizarre.
The administration is fine.
On the one hand, you say she'll be released anytime, then you say she'll be released anytime in a couple of days, and then you say in a week or so. So a week or so is not any time. You really have to appoint a person to run the government in your absence. All right. You have every right to want to insist.
That is not the requirement now. See, it is very clear. No, it is very clear. She is recovering very well. The hospital says she has come out of the every issue what she had in the past. Her fever is gone, and her respiratory issues are slowly going on. She is recovering. This is the statement issued by the hospital.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to simply point out to the audience two contradictions in your answer before I go to the next speaker. First, you said she's fine, she's absolutely fine, but she's in hospital. To me, that's a contradiction. Fine people don't go to hospital. Secondly, you keep saying she's recovering, she'll be released in a couple of days, but then you added it could be a week. So clearly, then she can't be all that well. But never mind, let me bring in someone else. I'll come back to you, Mr. Rajashekharan. I know that you have to prove your loyalty by defending the lady as passionately and loudly as you had, but let me bring others in. I'm not a member of ADMK, Karan.
You're
just a supporter, a loyal supporter, and your volume shows you are one too. Mr. Sundaram, On the other hand, and I'm going to play devil's advocate with you, two things are undeniable. First, Tamil Nadu has a well-established tradition of strong civil servants who play a major part in running the government, and that is the case whether the Chief Minister is sitting in an office or sitting in a hospital, and that continues to be the case. And secondly, the administration has run rather smoothly for the last 14 days. To be honest, the Chief Minister's absence, and this may not be a compliment to her, has not been noticed and felt. The government has carried on perfectly without her. So if that's the case, do we really have grounds to complain?
Well, I believe we do, Mr. Thapar, and before I go any further, I think on behalf of my party, we do wish the Chief Minister well, and we hope she recovers soon enough to resume official duties. But I think really what if I can sum the first question up from a different perspective, what we need to be wary about is about extra constitutional authorities that are mushrooming. You know, on one hand we have people who are not elected supposedly calling the shots, and you know, like the previous speaker had alluded to, we have a private hospital issuing medical health bulletins. Now I know that they are currently offering treatment to the Chief Minister, and that is you know, to be admired, but I think the government has a responsibility, has a bounden duty to tell its people how its elected leader of the cabinet is doing. So you know, so is there a problem? Yes,
I'll come to that question.
Do we have a good bureaucracy? We do.
Stick for now, Mr. Sundaram, to this question of the state running perfectly without any problem, and therefore the Chief Minister not appointing a deputy is okay. Stick to that for now.
Certainly, sir. So, you know, I see governance in two particular ways. You know, there are the routine everyday decisions which need to be taken, which ultimately give a particular state a political direction, an ideological narrative, if you may. And then there are the crucial decisions, you know, the ones where the people of the state look towards for decisive decision making, or something that could be life or death. You know, in recent past, two particular instances have come up. One is the Kaveri water sharing dispute, and secondly is the preparation to the flood and the monsoon season. Even the Madras High Court less than about 20 days earlier had asked the government to set up an advisory committee.
Both of those decisions are happening without the Chief Minister's participation. Is that right? Both those decisions you're saying are happening without the Chief Minister and without the designated successor or authority.
If they are happening, because the State Disaster Management Authority has not moved an inch since the High Court gave a specific directive for it to be committed. So there is on one hand there is not proper decision making. On the other hand, there is no decision making. That's my humble submission.
Okay, that's a very well put one. Let me bring you in, Mr. Surendra Singh. You argued in your first answer that it's not a major problem that the Chief Minister is in hospital without appointing formally someone to act as Chief Minister. You said as long as there was some sort of understanding, and we are assuming there is, but we formally don't know, that was okay. Let me put this to you. Reports suggest that the Chief Minister has been on and may still be on respiratory support. Secondly, we know for a fact that an intensive care consultant has been brought from the UK. Intensive care consultants don't come for ordinary illnesses. The word intensive care makes that clear. And you don't bring in someone from England unless the patient is pretty needy. And now today's papers suggest that AIMS doctors have been sent to Chennai, 3 of them in fact, including one that looked after Dr. Manmohan Singh, to look into the handling of Jayalalithaa. All of that suggests that she may not be in a condition to run the government from hospital, because otherwise why would she be on respiratory support? Why does she need an intensive care specialist from the UK, etc., etc.? In those circumstances, is it acceptable for an unaccountable, unelected lady, she may be a former chief secretary, but she's not an incumbent chief secretary, to run the government, and that too from behind closed doors in a hospital?
Well, Karan, that's certainly wrong. But for a moment, I'd like to go back to the question you asked earlier, that in a cabinet system of government, how can the Chief Minister be away for any length of time? Now, one expects that the cabinet ministers are going about whatever cabinet ministers do. And it's only when something truly important comes up, where the Chief Minister's decision is required, that her absence would be felt. In other words, a crisis of some sorts. But to come to your second question, well, certainly it's not right that a person, unelected, yes, unaccountable, I'm not so sure, because I presume she's been sworn in as in whatever position she holds, advisor to the Chief Minister. So I expect she would have taken an oath of allegiance and all that. So, but certainly it's not right that a Chief Minister should be out of action without any clearly any person being appointed to act in her place.
Siddharth,
as I said earlier, I mean, there have been instances. For example, I'll just take...
Go ahead, finish. Go ahead, sir, finish.
Hello, I lost you for a while, Karan.
Go ahead, and please finish your answer quickly.
Yes, for example, when I was Cabinet Secretary and Prime Minister went on long tours abroad, a particular minister was earmarked, but it was not made public who would act in his absence. Only that minister knew and I knew that in case a crisis should arise, he should be asked to chair the cabinet meeting and take a decision.
I take your point, Mr. Surendra Singh, but since
public,
then, 20 years have lapsed, and we have the critical example of Dr. Manmohan Singh making it clear when he went to hospital that Pranab Mukherjee would act in his absence, and that surely is a more recent precedent that should have been observed by Jayalalithaa. In fact, it's been ignored, possibly flouted. Siddharth Varadarajan, let me broaden the canvas a bit. Is there not a responsibility on the governor as the head of the state or the central government to intervene and ensure that democratically accountable government continues, rather than to permit a shadowy administration run by an unknown and unaccountable person? Because remember, we only know of this person through a newspaper, not formally, and that too from behind the closed doors of a hospital.
I think now we're entering slightly difficult territory in political terms and constitutional terms, because the governor's remit is to essentially ensure that you have government as mandated by law operate in his state or her state, and that there be no breakdown of government functioning. And evidently Tamil Nadu, as a generally well administered state and one which isn't confronting a crisis, is clearly not in that position or in that situation. So it is unusual, it is regrettable, it is unfortunate that there not be somebody put in charge while she is clearly incapacitated to some extent. We don't know the full extent. But whether this constitutes the elements of a breakdown in governance enough to trigger concern by the governor and by the Union of India, I think would be a bit of a stretch.
I wasn't suggesting Article 356. I was simply suggesting the Prime Minister picking up the phone and saying to her, the governor saying, you need to make it more formal. An informal understanding, as Mr. Surendra Singh says, could exist, is not sufficient.
Yeah, I wonder if whether her health status permits even this kind of a conversation at this stage.
Okay.
Certainly, I think in future this is a valuable lesson for her and for any other chief minister or governor in this kind of a situation.
Okay.
But I think it's unhealthy. It is, there is a PIL out, which I'm sure you will also talk about.
No, forgive me, I won't talk about it because it's been thrown out today.
These are all important issues.
So I'm interrupting you. The PIL was thrown out today. It was dismissed. So the PIL, unfortunately, is history. Manu Sundaram, this is sadly not the first time Tamil Nadu is going through this situation. In the early 80s, when MGR was ill, the same thing happened. In fact, in MGR's case, he continued to be chief minister even though he wasn't in the country and was in hospital in America. But even so, no one was appointed to take his place. Do you think this suggests that in fact there is a lacuna in the Indian system that needs to be looked into, and we need to sit down and find an answer how these situations are handled?
Well, Mr. Taba, much water has flown, as they say, since MGR's days, or even the days of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Today we live in an age of unprecedented information dissemination. People consume, they're consumers of information. They want to know what their government is doing. They want to know what their elected representatives are up to. We see this in various social media forums, and today there is a heightened right to information, right to know what politicians can do, can't do. So in that sense, I mean, it's not fair to compare. It's apples and oranges. MGR and Jayalalithaa.
I wasn't comparing, Mr. Sundaram. I was saying that given this is the second time it's happening, does it suggest there's a lacuna in our system that needs to be taken care of? In other words, our system is faulty. It needs to be put right.
Most certainly. Most certainly. Most certainly.
I'm glad you agree.
There is a lacuna because this is rather a protocol what we've just discussed, you know, having a second in charge, informing the chief secretaries so that they know what to do when there is a cabinet crisis situation. But is it actually in any sort of letter of the law? Unfortunately not. Can we develop such a code of conduct? We most certainly need to.
Absolutely. Thank you. You've taken my point on board. Mr. Rajashekharan, I'm running out of time for part one, and I want to keep time in part two for the second question, which is an important one. Do we have a right to know about the health of our rulers? But let me end this by putting this to you, Mr. Rajashekharan. The present situation in Tamil Nadu may suit Jayalalithaa, but it is clearly undermining the concept of good governance, and it is bringing into question the question of accountability, which is central to a democracy. Jayalalithaa may gain, India is losing. Respond to that.
Karan, first of all, comparing Manmohan Singh to Madam Jayalalithaa ji is very unfortunate. You should not compare.
Quite right. He's Prime Minister. She's only a Chief Minister. I quite agree with you. In the pecking order, she's lot lower down. So let's not make that comparison. She doesn't stand up as his peer in any sense. He was Prime Minister. She's just one of 28 Chief Ministers. Come back to my question, because I'm running out of time for this part. So this may suit Jayalalithaa. India loses from it.
See, the Madam, she is an iron lady. She is the most popular Chief Minister in the country.
Please answer my question.
Second term, she has been re-elected by the people of Tamil Nadu. And allow me to answer. Allow me to answer. See, first of all, the opposition, the vested interest, want to, play cheap politics out of all this. But the fact remains, she has the best of administration and best of officers and the best of cabinet to serve the people as normal, and she knows what she does, and she is getting well. We all pray and wish her to recover soon and come back and hold the reins of Tamil Nadu and do justice to the people of Tamil Nadu. So it is not the media which is going to serve the people, it is the Chief Minister who is going to serve the people, and she knows what is right and what is wrong.
I'm sure your loud voice and your support will be heard
what we should do
at
and what we
Apollo
should not
Hospital
do.
and communicated to the Chief Minister. Siddharth Varadarajan, let's come to the second question I want to discuss tonight. Do we in a democracy have a right to know the full details of the health of our rulers? Or is that an invasion of their privacy, and would you say that their privacy is greater than our need to know?
Well, I would say that the broad contours of a leader's medical situation ought to be known. There may still be points that it's not necessary for the public to know, but I think the fact that the nature of the illness and the prognosis for recovery is something that, yes, public ought to know. And I think there should be much greater disclosure of this in a proactive manner by those holding constitutional positions.
Mr. Surendra Singh, we keep being told that Jayalalithaa is recovering. Mr. Rajashekharan said that repeatedly on the show in part one. What we don't know is what is she recovering from. We have no idea what the problem is. Do we in a democracy have a right to know what the problem is? What is she suffering from?
Yes, I entirely agree with you and with Siddharth on this. There is, of course, the question of medical privacy involved, but then it's something that should go with the job one holds, and the people should have a full right to know what exactly is wrong and what the prognosis is.
Can I put this to you? In America, Mr. Surendra Singh, in America, Mr. Surendra Singh, we have full details made available of what's wrong with the president when he or she are ill.
Yes.
The same applies in Britain. When Tony Blair had to go into hospital while he was Prime Minister, not only were we told what the problem with his heart was, we were told exactly what the treatment was given. Why should the same not apply in India?
No, I agree with you entirely. That's what I said, that people should have the right to know full details about what exactly the state of the health of their leaders is, and what treatment they are being given, and what the prognosis is with regard to their illness. I entirely agree with that.
Mr. Rajashekhar, let me put to you the situation in Tamil Nadu today. We have not been told what is actually wrong with the Chief Minister. You keep telling me she's recovering, but I have no idea what she's recovering from. Consequently, speculation about her state of health on social media has got to the point where not only are people saying she's seriously ill, but they've actually begun to claim she's dead. And that's happened not once, but several times. You have, through a refusal to share with people the state of her health, created confusion and created concern. Is that the responsible thing to do?
Karan, first and foremost, I want to point out a very pertinent thing. You should not compare America with India and America with Tamil Nadu. It's very unfortunate, because in India, the privacy of an individual is above everything. In America, it is totally a different culture, different tradition. They follow different kind of practice. And you cannot compare that to Indian politicians and anybody for that instance. See, even Madam Sonia Gandhi goes to abroad, DMK leaders go abroad for treatment, and we are not at all bothered, because it is their private affair.
No, forgive me. I have to correct you, Mr. Rajashekhar. When Mrs. Gandhi went abroad and her illness was kept a mystery, and at the time, if you recall, she was chairperson of the UPA, we, and I in particular, did several shows to say this was utterly irresponsible of the government. We had a right to know, and she had a duty to tell us. It was what we said then, it's what we are saying now. So come back. Your failure to tell the people of Tamil Nadu what is wrong with the Chief Minister has led to speculation, leading to people actually saying she's dead. Are you happy with that?
See, the people of Tamil Nadu are not at all bothered to know or understand what is the real problem or real ailment of the Chief Minister. They only pray and wish the Chief Minister has to come out hale and hearty from the hospital, and she to again serve the people. That is the only wish of the millions and millions of voters and the people of Tamil Nadu. It is only the media which speculates, the opposition which creates all these kind of rumors and gossip
of your claim by putting that to Manu Sundaram.
Political games.
I'm going to go to Manu Sundaram. Manu Sundaram, you've just heard Mr. Rajashekhar say that the people of Tamil Nadu are not at all concerned to find out details about the Chief Minister's health. They're only praying for her recovery. No doubt you're praying desperately for...
not the people.
Just a moment.
The social media users don't vote.
I'm not talking. I'm talking to Mr. Sundaram, Mr. Rajashekhar.
The voter.
Your voice has been heard repeatedly at Apollo Hospital. Your support and loyalty has been noted. You will get good credit for it. But allow me now to ask a question to your opponent.
That is not my intention. For a kind information.
Permit me to ask a question to Mr. Sundaram.
I only wish and pray she recovers.
We all wish and pray she recovers, but I'd like to know first what she has to recover from, so my prayers can be heard more fully by the good Lord. When I go down on my knees tonight before I go to sleep and say, dear Lord, let her recover and let her recover quickly, I'd like to be able to tell the good Lord what she's suffering from.
Yes,
but at the moment, I don't know. Now, let me bring in Mr. Sundaram. Mr. Sundaram, you just heard Mr. Rajashekhar say that the people of Tamil Nadu don't care what she's suffering from. Is that true? Or do you want to know what she's suffering from?
I don't agree with Mr. Rajashekharan's take on the level of ignorance or of the people of Tamil Nadu, but you know, my position is a little nuanced here, Mr. Thapar. One is, you know, like where there are reasonable restrictions for free speech, we too believe that the right to know and the right to privacy can be two contradicting forces that can coexist, and I'll tell you how. So if we were to draw a line in the sand, what we would say is, whatever her medical prognosis is, whatever her management and treatment plans are, that can be in the realm of privacy. But what we need to know is, when is she taking government decisions? So let me tell you why. The first 3 days after she was admitted to the private hospital, there were at least about 3 instances of press releases which I recall. One condoling the death of 15 people in a road accident, one to do with Kaveri water sharing, and one to do with the Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments Trust. Now on each of these 3 press releases, the name of the Chief Minister and it specifically mentioned that it were issued under her instructions. Now that's where we have a problem. If she is having meetings with high-ranking officials in a hospital or on a beach or on a private office, then we need to know that this has happened, and for that we would like to there to be some evidence of these meetings. But let me just say one other thing, Mr. Thapar,
quickly, because you're rambling all over the place at the moment.
There is a right to know. Yes. Sorry, I'll come to the point. See, there is a right to know for the people, and the government needs to acknowledge that, because there is a vacuum in the information that's put out. That's where people start conjecturing and surmising, and it looks like the government is trying to pass off its responsibility to a private hospital to issue medical health bulletins, so there can be some sort of a plausible deniability in the long course.
I think, Mr. Sundaram, your point has come across, that there ought to be full, detailed bulletins about the Chief Minister's health so that we know. The strange thing is, you put up with precisely this situation 30 years ago when MGR was ill, and the bulletins were so scanty and so ill-informed that, in fact, at the time Karunanidhi said, and I'm quoting him, he said, "Hande pulugu, anda pulugu, akasa pulugu," which I gather means this is utter bloody lies that we are being told. You accepted it then, again you're accepting it again. And I put it to you that you should be perhaps more forceful in asserting the right of the Tamil people to find out. That you're not doing, but leave that, that's your prerogative. Finally, my last question to you, Siddharth Varadarajan. In the West, if Theresa May or Obama were to be hospitalized for 14 days, the media would throw all the resources they have to try and find out what it was and then to make it available to the public. Do you believe that the media in Tamil Nadu has put any effort into finding out, or have they meekly accepted the miserable handouts they are getting and said to themselves, we're not going to find out anymore? And has the media therefore in Tamil Nadu failed to fulfill its duty?
You know, even if it's put efforts in, and I'm sure that there are many excellent reporters and editors who are trying to find out, and perhaps they know more than they're publishing or putting out on television. But in Tamil Nadu, you have the most misused instrumentality known to government here, which is the criminal sedition law. I myself collected 2 cases, I have 2 cases pending for merely reporting a press conference held by Mr. Karunanidhi, who referred to Jayalalithaa as a CM in absentia. So if referring to her in that way, quoting an opposition politician referring to her in that way, attracts the charge of criminal sedition, criminal defamation in the state of Tamil Nadu, you can well imagine why media houses there are not falling over each other to report the details of her illness, because the law will be used against her, and this is the record of that state. And this goes to the heart of, undemocratic practices come in packages. So it shouldn't surprise us that a party which has this kind of a feudal authoritarian structure is also a party that does not believe in respecting the niceties of cabinet system of governance. It does not believe in respecting the freedom of the press. It does not believe in being transparent to the public. This is a package I'm afraid we have to deal with here.
All right, a very eloquently made point that sums up the entire situation by tying it all together with a wonderful ribbon of understanding. And I thank you for ending my show for me on that rather comprehensive point. My thanks to all my guests for joining me. And let me add, I wish Jayalalithaa a very speedy recovery, but I would like to know what she's recovering from so that I can add when I next go down in my prayers, dear Lord, let her recover from whatever it is that she's suffering from. But that absence gives me a little chance of being less convincing. Goodbye, good night.